Welcome to Rise and Revise. Today we'll discuss about the governor function and power according to the Indian Constitution as Kerala government moved to Supreme Court because the governor of Kerala kept the bill in hold for long and indefinite time, so it becomes important to know in detail about governor. Here we'll first see the power of governor and secondly we'll see function of governor related to bill according to Indian Constitution. In the Indian Constitution, the position of the governor is primarily outlined in Articles 153 to 162. Governors are appointed by the President of India and serve as the constitutional heads of the states. Their powers and functions are as follows. Executive powers. First, the governor is the representative of the President in the state and acts as the head of the state's executive branch. Second, the governor appoints the chief minister, who is usually the leader of the majority party in the state legislative assembly. Third, the governor also appoints other members of the State Council of Ministers on the advice of the chief minister. Legislative powers. First, the governor summons, prorogues, and dissolves the state legislative assembly. Second, the governor addresses the state legislative assembly at the beginning of each session, outlining the government's policies and programs. Third, the governor can withhold assent to bills passed by the state legislative assembly, return them for reconsideration, or reserve them for the president's consideration in certain cases. Financial powers. First, the governor lays the annual state budget before the state legislative assembly. Second, no money bill can be introduced in the state legislative assembly without the governor's prior approval. Judicial powers. First, the governor has the power to grant pardons, reprieves, and remissions of punishment to convicted individuals. Second, the governor can also seek the advice of the High Court on legal matters, but the court's advice is not binding. Discretionary powers. The governor has a limited scope of discretion in certain situations, particularly when no clear majority emerges in the state legislative assembly after an election or in situations where the government loses the confidence of the House. It's important to note that the governor's powers are not absolute. They are exercised within the framework of the Constitution and are subject to certain constitutional limitations. The governor is expected to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister, except in situations where discretion is explicitly provided for in the Constitution. The role and powers of the governor can sometimes be a subject of controversy and debate, especially when political situations become contentious or when there are disputes between the state government and the governor. The Constitution aims to strike a balance between the governor's constitutional duties and the principles of federalism and parliamentary democracy. Now let's see in detail what power governor have in case of bill. The role of the governor in India regarding bills is an important constitutional function, particularly in the context of state legislatures. The governor has the power to deal with bills passed by the state legislative assembly. Here is an overview of the governor's role regarding bills in India. Assent to bills. When a bill is passed by the state legislative assembly, it is sent to the governor for his or her assent. The governor can do one of the following. A. Give their assent to the bill, in which case the bill becomes law. B. Withhold their assent, effectively vetoing the bill. C. Reserve the bill for the consideration of the President of India, if the bill concerns a matter that requires the President's approval. In this case, the bill is not enacted until the President gives their assent. Discretionary powers. The governor's powers regarding bills are not absolute but are exercised within the framework of the Constitution. The governor is generally expected to act on the advice of the Council of Ministers headed by the Chief Minister. In most cases, the governor's role is limited to a formal approval process. However, the governor can exercise discretion in certain situations, such as when there is a doubt about the constitutionality of a bill or when a constitutional crisis arises in the state. In such cases, the governor may take an independent decision. Time frame for action. The governor has to act on a bill within a reasonable time after it is presented for assent. If the governor neither assents to the bill nor reserves it for the president's consideration, the bill is deemed to have received the governor's assent after a specified period. Consideration of advice. If the governor decides to withhold assent to a bill or reserve it for the president's consideration, they are expected to do so based